Now we come to serous cyst adenocarcinoma. That is, you will find even on the gross section there will be infiltrative pattern, invasive pattern of the tumor, solid looking tumor with, you can see here again, papillary structures are very clearly seen even in the here. This is the picture of serous cyst adenocarcinoma. Why we are saying it is carcinoma? Because the lining epithelial cells, they have the characteristic feature of atypia. Atypia we all know, hyperchromatism, pleomorphism, atypical mitotic activity, high NC ratio. All these features are seen in these cells along with infiltration. These cells, they have infiltrated the underlying stroma. When they have infiltrated the underlying stroma, we call this is a malignant tumor. This is serous cyst adenocarcinoma. Now we come to the most common presentation of the serous cyst adenocarcinoma, that is papillary. So most of these tumors, they show papillary configuration, that is their cells, the epithelial cells, they are found in the, they form the papillary configuration, and that papillae then ultimately they invade and they result in the invasiveness. And we all know that the serous cyst papillary carcinoma, these adenocarcinoma of the ovary, this frequently is associated with presence of Samoma bodies. And what is Samoma body? You all know from your third year lectures, and it was very frequently asked in your Viva questions also, in your Viva examination also, that Samoma body is a calcified body. Rounded calcified bodies are the Samoma bodies, and these are the typical features or typical findings that are commonly seen in the papillary serous cyst adenocarcinoma of the ovary. Now we come to the mucinous tumors. Again, the mucinous tumors are again categorized in mucinous cyst adenoma, mucinous borderline tumors, and mucinous cyst adenocarcinoma. So the difference between serous and mucinous one is that the mucinous tumors, they contain jelly-like fluid. Their fluid is mucinous, mucin-like, jelly-like fluid. Number one. Number two, on the histological finding, the cell here, these are different from that of the cells of the serous tumors. We said that the serous cells that are cuboidal and they are ciliated cells, ciliated cuboidal type of cells, these are line the serous tumors, whereas in case of mucinous tumors we see that the cells that are lining the mucinous tumors are tall columnar cells. Here you can see tall columnar mucin filled cells. So this is the difference between mucinous and the serous tumors, and all other things same, that we call these as mucinous cyst adenomas when there is single lining of these columnar cells. They line the cystic structures and they do not show invasion, they do not show atypia. You will say that this is mucinous cyst adenoma. And you will say the mucinous borderline tumor, when these lining cells, they show atypia, they show stratification, yet they do not show invasion. So we call these as mucinous borderline tumors. And for, see, this is the gross picture of mucinous borderline tumors. This is mucin filled ovarian structure of mucin filled cystic ovaries, bilateral. Here the picture shown to you is of mucinous borderline tumor. Why borderline tumor? You can see that the lining cells, these are tall columnar and they show stratification along with features of atypia, yet in the stroma no invasion is seen. However, you can see inflammatory cells. These are the lymphocytes. So inflammatory cells in the stroma, but no definite invasion, no invasion is seen. So we call these tumors as borderline mucin. Now we come to the mucinous cyst adenocarcinoma. These are the mucin filled ovaries, and they even on the gross findings they show the presence of infiltration. Here atypia, marked atypia, in the columnar type of epithelial cells, and these atypical cells, they show invasion. So when these atypical cells, atypical columnar type of epithelial cells, they show definite invasion in the stroma, we say that this is mucinous cyst adenocarcinoma. Now another type of tumor, that is called endometrioid tumor. So endometrioid tumor, these are actually few cases that arise in the setting of endometriosis, and 30% they coexist with primary endometrial cancer. And these are the second most common type of epithelial ovarian cancers. They occur primarily in the women who are between 50 to 70 years of age. Here the picture shown to you, these are the infiltrative. Another picture in which you can well identify the glandular structures, gland-like structures. Here, stratification. Then is another type that is called Brenner tumor. The Brenner tumor, these are benign and they occur in reproductive life. These can be malignant if you see invasion from these cells. So they may be associated with endometrial hyperplasia and they may coexist with the mucinous cyst. So why do we call these tumors as Brenner tumor? See this whitish solid picture of the Brenner. Yes, here you can see nests of urothelial cells. Urothelial cells, that are transitional type of cells. That are the cells that usually they line the urinary bladder. So these cells are seen within the ovary, and these are nests of these urinary type of that we call transitional type of cells. So when you see nests of transitional epithelial cells in the ovary and they do not show invasion, you will call that this is a benign Brenner tumor. But when these cells, these show aggressive behavior, they show atypia and they infiltrate the ovarian stroma, then it will be named as transitional cell carcinoma. This is Brenner borderline tumor. Again, here you can see the papillary structures that show stratification of the cells, and the cells are of transitional type. So this is called Brenner borderline tumor, because yet or still there is no invasion. When there is invasion of the cells, here you can see there is marked atypia in the urothelial cells or in the transitional cells, and they show invasion in the ovarian stroma. Now it is named as malignant Brenner tumor or transitional cell carcinoma of the ovary. Here you can see this is the clear cell carcinoma of the ovary. You can well identify the cytoplasmic clearing, these rounded clear structures, cytoplasmic clearing of these cells. That's why these are named as clear cell carcinoma of the ovary. And this is hobnailing. Hobnailing is a sprouting, right? So this is clear cell carcinoma of the. Then the last type, the germ cell tumors. The germ cell tumors of the ovary, a very common benign germ cell tumor of the ovary is teratoma, benign cystic teratoma, that is also named as dermoid cyst. 25% of all ovarian neoplasm, these are composed of the dermoid cyst. They contain the tissues that derive from 2 or more germ cell layers. They may be unilocular cysts. They may contain teeth, bone, cartilage, nerves, hair, thyroid, and the tissues that you may find in all the 3 germ cell layers. So almost these are always benign. Malignant changes may occur in any component. These occur at any age. The peak age is 20 to 30 years, and these are in 20% of cases bilateral. This is the picture shown to you. You can well identify the presence of hair in this tumor, and this is the sebaceous material, that is cheesy sebaceous material that is surrounding this cyst. So this is a typical gross picture of a dermoid cyst or a cystic teratoma, mature cystic teratoma of the ovary. This is the histological picture of this mature cystic teratoma. The lining epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium, along with the skin adnexa, that are the sebaceous glands and the sweat glands. So this is all about the mature cystic. Then the germ cell tumors, malignant germ cell tumors, these are rare. 3% of the ovarian cancers are malignant germ cell tumors. You may find malignant teratoma or immature teratoma. Immature teratoma is commonly seen in case of the males. In females, the most common teratoma is mature cystic teratoma, that is benign tumor. This is immature teratoma. Immature teratoma in which you see the premature cells, the neuronal cells, and these are invading the stroma, the ovarian stroma. So these contain premature elements. Next is the choriocarcinoma of the ovary, that is called non-gestational choriocarcinoma, and it secretes human chorionic gonadotropin. It may be seen as a carcinoma. Here, a typical choriocarcinoma, as we discussed in the previous lecture, that they show markedly atypical mixture of syncytiotrophoblasts and cytotrophoblast, and no chorionic villi seen. And this is the basically the non-gestational choriocarcinoma. So in this type of tumor, you will see mixture of syncytiotrophoblasts and cytotrophoblast, and the picture is identical as that seen in the gestational type of choriocarcinoma. Then other malignant germ cell tumors include the yolk sac tumor, that is highly malignant. It is also named as endodermal sinus tumor. It affects the young age, and these are partly solid, and they secrete alpha fetoprotein. This is, my dear student, the histological picture of yolk sac tumor. The typical finding of yolk sac tumor is that it contains the specialized type of bodies that are named as Schiller-Duval bodies. That Schiller-Duval bodies are the bodies that comprise of the central capillary, this vascular area, and it is surrounded by the tumor cells, then a space, and that space is again surrounded by the tumor cells. So it presents as the glomerulide structure, like glomerulus like. That is just like as we see the glomerulus of a kidney. So glomeruloid bodies that are found and that are typical of the yolk sac tumor, and these glomeruloid bodies are named as Schiller-Duval bodies. So these are the typical identification feature of the yolk sac. Then is the dysgerminoma, that is very common, highly malignant tumor, and usually it spreads by lymphatics. It is very radiosensitive, and it occurs in young women, and it may arise in the gonadal dysgenesis. My dear students, dysgerminoma is basically identical counterpart of the male germ cell tumor, that is named as seminoma. So the seminoma in the male germ cells tumors and the dysgerminoma in case of female germ cell tumors both have identical pictures. So histologically these both show the same pattern, as you can see here. These contain the cells that have abundant glycogen. So this is the glycogen causing clearing, cytoplasmic clearing in these cells, and these group or sheets of cells are separated by the fibrous stroma, at that fibrous strands or fibrous stroma is infiltrated by lymphocytes. So this is the typical histological picture of the dysgerminoma, that is identical counterpart of seminoma. Then sex cord stromal tumors, these include granulosa theca cell tumors. These are moderate to large in size, solid as enlarged, may have cystic spaces, they have yellow tinge on their cut surfaces. Thecoma is benign, but granulosa cell, it can be malignant. It is not always malignant, but it can be malignant. It occurs at any age. 50% show postmenopausal cases. They secrete estrogen, and usually they are in stage 1, and they show